This episode of the What's Happening Delco podcast is brought to you by Delco Meets for Business. Check us out on Meetup, register, and attend one of our fantastic networking meetings, which we meet on the first and third Thursday at the Brick House in Ridley Park, and the second and fourth Thursday at the Upper Crust in Newtown Square. We look forward to seeing you there. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today, I'm joined by Brian Kors of the Media Arts Council. Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Rich. Happy to be here.
Well, this is going to be fun because there are a lot of people that'll walk past your place on State Street and may not know, other than maybe seeing some art on the wall, what Media Arts Council does. So what does Media Arts Council do?
So we celebrate art in all its forms in a variety of fun and public events, from street music festivals to classes for adults and kids in music and fine art. And we also just bring people together to see great art on our walls and try to draw attention as much as possible to the growing number of really wonderful artists in Delco.
So if, as somebody that's a resident of Delco, and I guess not as a resident, some of the things, classes, how do I seek these things out, or what are some of the classes that Media Arts Council offers?
Yeah, so right now we have a popular figure drawing class. We actually have live models who come in and people learn the techniques of figure drawing. We also have jazz classes for students, high school students in particular. These are kind of like workshop classes for kids who already play. And our goal is to expand all of these different kinds of offerings. Those are just a couple of examples of the kinds of classes. And you can find these all on our website, mediaartscouncil.org.
Well, you mentioned the jazz, and one of the wonderful things about Dining Under the Stars is that as you're walking through and you hear these wonderful sounds coming from the art, the Media Arts Council, and you're able to pop in. Some of them are very well attended. So sometimes it's standing room and seating room only. What I was amazed to find is that there's a whole back room of art on the walls and local artists. How did these artists come to get a chance to have their art on the walls and be displayed?
Yeah, so over the last 17 years or so, Media Arts Council has been building a roster of local artists. It started with a small handful, and then as they started to exhibit their work, it attracted more and more people. And now that we have, a programming director, we're also doing outreach to other parts. I mean, it started kind of almost strictly in media. And we've, expanded to try to attract artists from other parts of Delaware County and even beyond, including Philadelphia.
And my understanding is that the space is available for rental or usage if you have a gathering or an event that you want to host, right?
Yes. And we love to do that because I think, bringing people together in a space like that, that's inspiring, that's full of creativity, is really a wonderful way to have special time with people and to celebrate.
What is the mission? At the end of the day, what's the mission of the Media Arts Council?
It's to support the arts. I would say that broadly, but also to support the arts in media in Delaware County and create opportunities for artists to reach a wider audience and to make our town, our region, a wonderful draw.
Well, you talk about, things just to support and let people know about the arts. You've got a couple of things going on. What's this Jasper Jam I'm hearing about?
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, the Jasper Street Jam was something that we had been thinking about for years. And the idea was, that a lot of events are on State Street, which is the main, commercial promenade, but you also have businesses and you have a kind of a little sort of secret life of these parallel streets, Baker Street and Jasper Street. So our aspiration originally was to do a Baker Street Bash to bring people back onto Baker Street, and a Jasper Street Jam to bring people onto Jasper Street. And what it is really is, I would describe it as a small scale, like an intimate street festival, where our focus is to bring the highest quality acts to a relatively small audience, something on the order of 350 or fewer. So what that means is there's not a bad seat in the house. And people are getting to see acts that might draw much more than that in other venues, right up close. And we bring community artists together, as well as interact with the business community. We've had local vendors for beer, food, for various items for sale. So it's really a community building event and an intimate social arts experience.
Share some of the dates for these experiences.
So we don't have our 2024 dates mapped out yet, but essentially we do second Saturday from when it gets nice to when it doesn't. So this year we did a second Saturday in April, May, June, July, August, September, and then October being a gamble, we decided to take our programming, inside and off the street. But that's generally what it will be. Spring and summer, early fall, second Saturday.
All right. I had my calendar out and I was ready to mark it up, but I will wait until we go to the website. We'll find those things probably mentioned or focused on your social media site. Great opportunity for Delconians to get out and hear some great live music, mingle, and be part of the social world that is Delco. So these are wonderful things that the Media Arts Council is providing. Brian, talk about how you came to Media Arts Council and some of your experiences and the roles that you play.
Sure. So I came as an artist. I'm a musician. And back in 2012, I had just moved back I grew up in the area in Delco, and I had just moved to Middletown Media, basically. And I was looking for places to play. And this small arts organization contacted me and gave me an opportunity to play. And I was able to talk to their executive director at the time, who said, yeah, we're looking for the perspective of musicians. And we're trying to create opportunities for more great bands, more solo artists, visual artists to show what they can do and bring that to the town. And I thought that sounded awesome. So I started just as a board member. I have a fundraising and education background myself professionally. And so I started trying to help with the fundraising. And over the years, we've really increased that. And now I'm kind of chairing that committee, and I'm co-president of the board of directors. But I found it as an artist.
One of the things that you touched on just there is always looking for volunteers, and you have great volunteers right now that participate, that help with the events and help with the center, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have over 60 steady volunteers, and we have sort of volunteers like for those Jasper Street Jams, for example. We have a crew that always comes out to set up, but we're always looking for more. And the more we expand our programming, depending on people's interest, they might be able to play a really pivotal role and be up close and personal with the artists, which is a special opportunity. Okay,
I need to know more about MACFI classes. Lay that one on me. What is that?
Sure. Yeah, so it started as a program called the Media Youth Film Initiative, and it's really kind of a MAC signature event. So we've sort of rebranded it as MACFI, but essentially the idea is to get a small cohort of young people, high school, even middle school, who are interested in film and want to learn more about it, and particularly people who might not normally have access to such programming. So we provide a scholarship. We have scholarships that are available for this. And what it is that small cohort works directly with two professional filmmakers, and they learn absolutely everything there is about the mechanics, the technical mechanics, and the artistic substance of making a film. And in a very short, I think it's 10 classes, they soup to nuts produce a film. And then we also have an event that's been going on for well over a decade, actually approaching closer to 20 years, the Media Film Festival. And the first thing that happens at that film festival is that we show the student films from the MACFI classes. And they're amazing. It's amazing what they produce with that hands-on learning in the small class setting in that short a time. It's quite unbelievable.
With all that you have going on the calendar, where can people find more information? Talk about the website. Do they call you? Do they email you? How do they find out what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, the best place is the website. Of course, our phone number and info email are on there. But our whole calendar, all the upcoming shows, I'm looking at it right now. We have our youth jazz series, a live play reading, State Street movie night, a classical concert, all coming up just in the next 10 days. And that's all on there. If you stop in 11 East State Street, across from the Trader Joe's, we have these little cards that have QR codes for those who like to use that. You can scan that and it'll always bring up a current, I think it's 1 or 2 months worth of programming. And that's the kind of thing you could put on your fridge and hit that QR code whenever you want to know what's happening at the Mac.
So what is that website?
It is mediaartscouncil.org. So it's a double A, media, MEDIA, arts, ARTS, council, COUNCIL, one word, mediaartscouncil.org.
And where do people find you on the socials?
So we've got at Media Arts Council, same spelling, at Instagram, and then facebook.com/Media Arts Council. Those are our primary social media.
Tremendous. So you are on your way to one of the events, but you have a cheesesteak craving. Where are you stopping?
That's a great question. I would say if I'm heading from the city, on my way out, I'm going to hit Angelo's in South Philly and get a incredible cheesesteak. If I'm in Delco, though, and that's what this is all about, I got to go Desert Rose right on State Street in Media. I would have said up till a few months ago, I would have said Leo's all the way. But what Desert Rose did is they hired a couple of guys who were true devotees of Leo's, and they said, we can do it better. And they do. It's outrageously generous in the portion. It is the best cheesesteak I've had in my life, hands down. Desert Rose, I think they're calling the imprint Desert Rose Steaks, just past Orange Street on State Street, Media, PA, everybody's hometown.
You have had that cheesesteak craving met, and you need to pick up a pizza, maybe on the way home. Where are you stopping for pizza?
That's a good question. In Delco, I would say Little Anthony's for the sheer variety, including a red sauce tomato pie, and they'll make an upside down, a red top pizza, cheese on the bottom, sauce on the top by request. Now, they don't advertise that, but if you...
Well, they just did through you. Thank you.
There you go. If you're a State Street Rambler like I am, Little Anthony's.
Is that a T-shirt? Do you have to have a T-shirt that says State Street Rambler? I love that.
Well, I like your Delconian, so I think we could come up with something.
We'll mix the two.
Yeah.
You are heading out and about, maybe heading home. You got something of a convenience store need. Where are you stopping? Royal Farms or Wawa?
Wawa.
How do you explain Delco to somebody that's never been here or has not heard of Delco before?
I describe it as a phenomenon. Some people describe it as a location. I describe it as a phenomenon. I think Delco's kind of extraordinary because you've got a bit of everything everywhere, whether you're talking about arts and culture, types of people, socioeconomic, whatever it is, Delco just has a bit of everything, right? And I think because of that, you get this, and it's small, right? It's a highly populated small region. So you get this collision of worlds that rather than producing rancor or arguments, it produces this sort of this magic, this real diversity in the community. And I think people have a great deal of pride. I certainly wear it with pride. And I remember when I lived out of state, I would talk about Delco and people go, what is that? I'd say you have to experience it. It's a phenomenon. So I really think Delco is every type of person in this small area, every type of cuisine, every type of interest is represented in some way. You have vibrant arts communities, you have maniacal sports enthusiasm, and you have tremendous diversity of every kind. And it's small, it's tight, and it's beautiful.
Do you have friends or family coming in from out of town and you want to give them that Delco experience? Where will you be sending them, or where will you be taking them?
I'm going to send them first. If they're carnivores, they got to eat a Charlie's cheeseburger on McDade Boulevard. Then, of course, as a State Street Rambler, I got to send them to State Street. I tell them there's no franchises other than Trader Joe's. There's no franchises on State Street. It's all of these independent businesses, really interesting offerings, great food, great booze, and good times. So I definitely send them there. And then Ridley Creek State Park, just to emphasize that even though we're so close to an urban setting, we have all this greenery, all this lush protected land.
That sounds like a wonderful day. Brian, who motivates you? What motivates you to get out of bed every day?
I would say, family and living in a great community. I've got children, wife and children, and we live in a place that is just wonderful for families. So I'm really grateful to have found a place to live in Delco, and grateful for the opportunities that it brings.
Is there anything that we didn't talk about today on the podcast? Anything you want people to know more about you or Media Arts Council?
I would say, shamelessly, that Media Arts Council is one among a number of hustling arts nonprofits in an era where fundraising is challenging. So if you are philanthropically inclined and you want to support the arts, great quality programming, something for everybody that truly hits every demographic in town, we'd love to have your support. Come find us.
Well, again, get out off of State Street, go in the door, see all the happenings, check out the website, use that QR code, and be part of all that the Media Arts Council is doing and the activities. And certainly we're grateful that you're a friend of what's happening, Delco, and we look forward to seeing you out and about in the community really soon. Okay, Brian?
Thank you so much, Rich. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Great to see you. Great to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you too.